As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be
Oh
a
man,
home
it's
run.
8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a...
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
BravBros. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of BravBros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody, for whoever wants to listen. I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined, as always, by the one and only Shooter Magooter. Shoots, what's up?
All business tonight, baby.
Yep, I'm glad you picked up on that. That was
Yep.
an intentional Shooter Magooter.
Not messing around. Steele's on a warpath.
I have been a hot little potato for about 24 hours now because of the bullshit that's been spewing on my Instagram feed, our Instagram feed.
Just been hanging out.
I know you've been cool, calm, and collected, which
Wow.
is why we work so well together. I'm a spark plug, and you're a babbling brook.
All right. Sounds good to me.
I'm borderline manic at this point.
That's okay. It's all right. You'll get it out. At the end of the episode, you're going to feel much better.
And then we got to do part 3.
Well, yeah, that's a different thing, but I think you'll be fine by part 3. Honestly.
hope
I think
so.
you're going to get it all out, and then we'll have a little fun with part 3. Well, I mean, I'm going to have fun regardless.
You know what's getting me through? We have family dinner after this. Thursday
Family
night.
dinner.
So we got the crew coming over for family dinner. So that's keeping me a little calm. I will feel better. This is always therapeutic for me. It's just been a whirlwind. I thought Scandoval was over, and it just pulls me back in. What's the quote? Just when I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
You didn't think it was over. You knew that when we were going, at least at the very least, going into the next season, you know it's coming back.
Well, yeah, but I thought that we'd have a longer break, I guess. I didn't expect Raquel to come out of the woodworks this soon. I definitely didn't expect her to do it via Bethanny fucking Frankel, but here we are.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're going to skip through the news. We're going to skip through Rose and Thorn. We're going to get right into it. Did have a thorn that I wanted to talk about real quick.
Let's do that. Let's do a quick Rose and Thorn just to set the tone, because I need a little rose in my... I do have one rose, so
I
you
just
go
have one
first.
thorn that I want to talk about. It was after our debate about Paula Abdul on Wednesday morning show.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody, I guess, jokingly tweeted something out just saying, I couldn't have ever imagined that this is the duo that would have broken up the BravBros, and it was Paula Abdul with what is it,
Cat.
DJ Scat?
MC Cat.
It's MC Cat? Okay,
Yes.
they said whatever. Doesn't matter. But somebody commented on that and said, whoa, the BravBros broke up. I don't like them at all. What happened?
Yeah, we caught us
Like,
straight.
dude, what? First off, who in the world saw that GIF and thought, wow, the BravBros broke up and it was Paula Abdul?
Yeah.
No, like, it didn't make any sense, but it was really funny. I just love that we caught that stray.
Yeah, we caught that stray, and the best part is I didn't know Shooter had responded. I don't usually respond on Twitter, but I was going to say something funny. I literally wrote, why are we out here catching strays? Come to find out, Shooter had wrote the exact same thing with a GIF. So I deleted mine, and then the guy called us out for deleting tweets. I was like, shit. And the funny part is we said the exact same thing.
Yes.
I should have done my due diligence. I did not.
It's okay.
That's a good enough. That's Rose and Thorn for both, though. It's Rosy Thorn.
Yeah, it was fun.
It's a thorny rose.
It's a little goof.
Once this all broke, once the Bethanny Frankel interview broke, I texted you immediately because I was like, well, we just got our second part of Friday's episode because OC didn't air this week. Oh, I did want to call attention to that email we got. Somebody emailed us and said, hey, can you guys let us know, your listeners, when shows aren't airing, when they take a week off? We can try, but we don't know either.
I don't even know. Like, even if our version of trying to do that will be talking about it on the podcast probably the day after that happens.
That's
like
yeah.
We have no idea. We sit down the same time. Honestly, most shows we honestly don't even really watch live. We'll watch them on Peacock because they can't do commercials. But yeah, no, there's no chance you're going to get that from us.
Yeah, wishful thinking. We'll do our best, but don't count on us for the Bravo scheduling because we don't even know when shows come back and people yell at us for it. So as much as we'd like to help you out, we're not that guy, pal. But let's just get right into it. There's no sense in waiting. This is the Bethanny Frankel episode, the Rachel Leviss episode, the Raquel whatever the fuck you want to call it.
Frankwell.
Yeah, we did do a hashtag Frankel, is how it's pronounced. Hashtag Frankel.
I like to put stress on the Q.
Frankwell.
Q's are fun.
You.
Q's are fun, you know? A little QT.
Thank you for keeping it
No,
light.
but I honestly think, just one little side note. I am now officially calling her Raquel because she is leaning into the Rachel thing.
Oh, so now
Everything
you're
that she
going-
does, I'm just going to do the
oh,
opposite.
you're going the other way.
Yeah,
I
I'm
like
not going
that.
to like give her that.
That's fair. The one thing that I will say before we dive into it, her responses throughout this interview process pretty much says to me that she learned nothing during those 90 days when she was supposed to be figuring out herself, trying to get a grasp on what had happened. I didn't get any of that from what she was saying throughout this entire 2-episode streak that we've been listening to. I didn't see that at all.
No, I saw zero change. If anything, she went further in the other direction. And look, I don't know. I was planning on kind of getting into this as we got into it, but the vibe that I caught from this whole thing is pretty much what we've been saying the whole time. Raquel is dumb as a rock.
Mm.
And I think that she will take any guidance that anybody's going to give her. And right now, she has no friends. She's only got family. The stories that we heard about her family, like letting her change her name in first grade because there's other girls named Rachel and she wanted to be special.
Crazy.
Her mom just let her do that. That is pageantry
That's
shit.
enabling
That is
behavior.
crazy stuff. So clearly, we're not getting any good guidance over there. I think she turned to Bethanny for guidance.
Oh.
And I think that a lot of these answers, and I will point them out as we talk about them, but I think a lot of these answers were kind of pushed by Bethanny.
You know
She
what?
tees her up really well. She tees her up to a point where, yes, oh, you guys actually best friends? Gives her that answer, like leads her into it. So I think that she's been coached up by Bethanny. And the only reason that Bethanny's doing that is because Bethanny wants more views. She wants more shock and awe from the audience. She wants people to talk about it, which we are. And that's kind of what I saw this going from. Instead of remorseful Raquel that we would have gotten if she actually took treatment seriously, it just doesn't seem like either she didn't take it seriously or Tom changed her or Bethanny changed her or her family changed her. I don't know what happened, but she went the complete opposite direction.
I just want to note that we called Bethanny out like 2 weeks ago for being thirsty, for trying to do the most to get back in the limelight, for trying to stay relevant, and we caught so much shit for it. Lo and behold, she comes out with this nonsense, and now everyone's turned the table. Everyone's changed their opinion. That's all I want to say on
To
that.
be fair, you did kind of spearhead the whole Bethanny needs to go away. I really only had an issue with her eating on camera.
Yeah, well,
I don't really care. You
how
know,
about
people are
now?
going to talk whatever. How about now?
How about now?
You want to open that?
How about now?
How about now? I respect her 1,000% more than I did 2 weeks ago.
Just to
She's a
double it down.
fucking genius.
But my whole thing, is she a genius for like the interview? Yeah, absolutely. But that's a layup. Anybody knows that this is going to be the biggest interview of your podcasting career if you can snag Rachel, Raquel, whatever. She's not a genius because she's spearheading a monetization without compensation strike. And then she goes out and she does the exact fucking thing that Bravo's doing, that she's trying to speak out against. She is saying that reality stars deserve to be paid for the shit that they go through. She has Rachel on her show and does not compensate her for it. Gives her nothing in
Are we
return.
positive about that?
Yes, 100%.
How are we sure?
She's spoken out about it. There's been a
Okay,
TikTok
all
about
right.
it. There's been different documents coming. Like she
But I
has
also-
not paid her.
Me personally, I don't have an issue with that.
Why?
She's a guest on the show. She's able to speak freely about her
Absolutely.
experience. I think that's more than compensation.
Absolutely, unless you are the face of a quote
I
unquote
get it.
movement in which reality stars
a-
are getting fucked out of
it
money.
is-
Bethanny's going to make 6 figures off of this
Yeah.
episode alone. Alone.
You can point out the hypocrisy here for sure. But
I'm going to
if
about
I'm
1,000
looking,
times.
I know,
so
but I'm
buckle up.
looking at it in a nutshell. I don't really have a problem with it.
Well,
honestly.
you need to just grin and bear it because that is
That's
the
fine. That's
main
okay.
point of my argument here tonight. But let's get into it. We start out with a terrible intro. They literally say hi to each other. I will say, from like a podcasting standpoint, like she's not a good host. I didn't enjoy any of these. Like she's not.
She wasn't.
fluid.
All right, put her up against Howie Mandel.
That's my point. This is Howie 2.0.
I don't think it was. I think she did a lot better job than
What the
Howie.
fuck is going on? Are you like Team Bethanny?
I'm being serious right now. Yeah.
She did a better job than Howie, but she did not
that
do a
hard.
good job. Exactly. Like she sits there and says, "I've never watched the show." Like, don't announce that immediately. That's craziness to me.
Howie did the same thing, but I think that's she did say that she's never watched the show, and later she said that she watched a couple episodes from the season and then she really watched the reunion. Yeah, that that can get you in some hot water, but I don't have a problem with that. At least she's doing that and not hiding it and not acting like she's watched the show, because if she acted like she watched the show, people would be yelling about her definitely not watching the show.
We might fist fight after this.
Good.
Anyway, then the next thing she goes on to do is highlight the exploitation that Rachel is facing through this show. right? She's saying that everyone else is making out like a bandit. You're getting nothing in return. One, that's not true. We find out that Raquel made $325,000 to $350,000 this season. I'm not sure. I've seen multiple things, but it's within the range of $300,000 to $350,000. That's about $20,000 an episode, which is not chump change. Bethanny later says, like, you get paid less than my interns do, which if
That's
that's
wild.
the case, I would love to be Bethanny.
I don't think there's any money in the world that would let me be Bethenny Frankel's intern.
Yeah, that's actually a really good
No idea what those people go through on a day-to-day basis.
That's a valid point. But the next thing that happens is she starts talking about what her grasp of VPR is with her limited knowledge. And she says this show's based in a bar. It's centered around drinking. It profits off affairs, XYZ, all the bad things, all the negative things that all Bravo shows do profit off of. My issue with how she is framing it is she's minimizing the affair in which, like the actual Scandoval affair, because she's comparing it to, I know other members of this cast have cheated. And yeah, a lot of them have. And our platform throughout the entire season of VPR, we laid into that. We said it's kind of bullshit that all these people now have a voice against cheating when all of them have done the same fucking thing. We're not saying that they are not at fault either, but you can't compare this affair to the other affairs that we've seen on the show. I don't think it's the same thing. I think it's within the same like ballpark.
It's not, but you can tell pretty early on in the interview what Raquel's mission is here.
Yes. Yeah.
And again, like, she is not smart enough to do this on her own. So whether it's Bethenny or somebody else pushing it, she is trying to paint a picture where, yes, VPR was dying. Yes, VPR got big because there were cheating scandals and there was this and that and whatever. All she's doing is the same behavior times 15. We get all the numbers that kind of support that. Like, yes, it was the most successful show in 2023. I know what she's trying to do. I don't believe it. I mean, there are some aspects of like Tom and Ariana's relationship that maybe that could be true. But as far as what she did and how she went about it, no, this is what you did. And this is exactly how you went about it. Like, there's no backing down from that. If she had gone into this and was remorseful, she was even more remorseful at the reunion than she was now. So what, you just took 4 months to figure it out and now you're even less remorseful than you were? I know that I'm not going to go full craziness on this and support Raquel too. Like, that would be wild. But the way that Raquel came out of this, Raquel looks way worse than she did a month ago. If she just let it simmer, look, don't come back to VPR. If it's bad for you, okay, great. That's fine. We'll get over it. We'll just kind of focus on Tom next season. Not a big deal. Yes, you're probably going to get paid a lot more if you come back next season. That makes a lot more sense. If that's what you're willing to do to sell your soul, as you so eloquently put it, go for it. Go ahead and do it. But to sit here on this platform where millions and millions of people are going to listen to this, they're going to look for everything that you say. To go this crazy, this far outside of what we're used to is crazy. Like, you are not painting yourself in a good picture. You're not trying to get out scot-free. You're not blaming this, that, and another thing for what you did. You're not taking any ownership. It's just wild.
The lack of accountability is crazy, and it goes into what she says immediately after she brings up the compensation thing. She says that reality TV is edited. No shit. And she starts trying to minimize the affair, much like Bethanny did. She says, they were so intrigued by the concept of the affair that they leaned into this, and I became the punching bag for the season. Look, does Tom deserve more shit than he got? Yeah, 1000%. He's getting off easier than Rachel. The difference is, if this had been an affair in which you guys fooled around once or twice and were trying to keep it secret, did you deserve like the level of, as you said 18 times on this podcast, vitriol that you got? Probably not, considering everybody else in the show has done the same thing. The difference is, for 7 months you carried this on. You also tried to get close to the girlfriend of the guy you were fucking. You also tried to dive into the dynamics of their relationship with the girlfriend and say, are you guys having sex? None of your fucking business, man. How you carried yourself was crazy. It was sociopathic. That's the difference. And you're not minimizing it by saying everyone else has done it. Bravo loves a good affair. They love the attention, so they're going to lean into it. Yeah, they are, because you gave them way too much to work with. That's your fault. That is Tom's fault. You need to, all I can gather from this as a whole is you made your bed, fucking lie in it, like you just said. The fact that she's coming back now like this, instead of being like, you know what, I've had time to think about it. I'm so sorry, Ariana. I'm so sorry for what I did. I've learned a lot about myself. I want to grow. I want to continue to grow. That's the response. Not, I'm a victim too. That's bullshit. That's your
Yeah.
first appearance and you're going to play the victim card?
I think if she didn't play the victim card and she just tried to lay out some of the facts, quote unquote facts, if you will, it would have come out better because maybe you're uncovering a few stones. Maybe when you
Right.
point to Tom and Ariana's relationship and you start talking about how it was for the cameras and it was a brand and it was this and that and they really didn't have anything there. Maybe some of us would start looking. And yes, she's not wrong in the fact that Tom hasn't gotten nearly as much shit as she has. Tom should be getting way more shit.
We agree.
We can agree with that.
Yep.
I don't understand why people aren't giving him more shit. The fact that he's still able to go around the country and sing his fucking hit new single.
That was my
That's a hit new
favorite
single.
line of the podcast. Was hit new single.
The fact that he's able to just kind of move around freely and that we're seeing pictures from this season pop out. And I don't give a shit what Lala says. I don't care what Scheana is talking about with these pictures. Lala is smiling and hugging Tom.
Period.
I do not care. Tom is getting off so much easier than Raquel. And yeah, maybe Raquel put her foot in her mouth a bunch of times. Yes, she absolutely did. Tom also put his foot in his mouth. Tom is the number one
Villain.
in this whole story. If Raquel showed any remorse, and I kind of even understand where she's coming from, where she showed a tiny bit of remorse during the reunion and just got ripped apart. Of course you're going to get ripped apart. It's fresh. It's new.
3 weeks.
It's fresh. It's new. You're going to come back now 4 months later. I get if you don't want to show any remorse because nobody's giving you anything to talk to. I kind of get that. Just leave all of that out of it. Stop trying to play the victim and try to point to some other things and blame it all on Tom.
That's a move.
You might be able to get out of this a little bit easier. Instead, you're going to be a villain again.
You're going to be a worse villain than when you came into this. But let's keep plugging along. The next thing I want to bring up, she starts talking about her family and her relationship with her family. And Bethanny asks her, like, how did your mom take it? It's got to be hard for them to hear all this stuff. Like, yeah, absolutely it was. And Bethanny drops my favorite line when people get tough. I would be in jail for murder if you were my daughter. Which one belittles what her mother did for Raquel. Like, you're not even acknowledging
She's
that.
not wrong.
What do you mean?
What did Raquel's mom do for her?
Nothing.
No,
Absolutely.
absolutely
No.
nothing.
And maybe she does deserve
I thought
that.
it was, I mean, like, the overlaying factor of this entire thing, it was the funniest hour and a half minus 52 minutes for commercials that I have ever listened to. I enjoyed every aspect of this podcast.
I did.
That's kind of where I came from. I know that you watched it and you were like livid about what was going on and you hated everybody that was involved.
Yeah.
I get that. But overall, from an entertainment value, it was fun. I would do it again in a heartbeat if I could.
I know you would. I can't
It
because
was
I get
so
too
funny.
hypocrisy is one of my biggest icks, if you want to call it.
But that's the thing is you didn't want to go back to Scandoval. I don't care. These people aren't real people.
I understand
It's
that.
funny.
I get more emotionally invested in things than you do, okay? It's who I am. Let's keep going. Bethanny reads the apology and asks, is the apology still accurate? And thank God, I genuinely thought she was going to say no. I thought she was going to be like, after thinking about it, and honestly, if you ask her after episode 2 the same question, I think she might say no. I think she was still fresh and I believe she had a game plan going into it. I believe Bethanny steered her where she wanted her to go.
Yes, for sure.
I think that Bethanny is the mastermind, which is hysterical to say out loud. But I think that she was trying to steer her in a certain direction. And as we know, Rachel is very impressionable. So she listens and she kind of picks up on what Bethanny's trying to do. She hears Bethanny throwing all the victim words out, all the targeted trigger words for victims. And she latches onto it. She goes, oh, this is a good spin. Maybe I can come out of this looking like I got hurt.
Fucking great move by B.
It's not, because everyone sees through it. And this is my thing with Bethanny thinking she's a fucking mastermind in all of this, because she's not. This is an absolute layup. No one's going to turn this down. No one's going to say no to this interview. The fact that she's laying this out in a 3-part, this is a Marvel finale, we're watching the end of phase 1 of the Marvel movies where they drop 3 to finish the fucking thing. That's what she's doing. The first episode was 38 minutes with 12 minutes of ads, which means that 1/4 of the episode, a quarter, was advertisements, which that's where the hypocrisy comes in, the monetization. The second episode was 38 minutes long with 10 minutes.
So what? You skipped through them.
My point is, that's one episode. You put 38 minutes plus 28 minutes, and that's a hour and 6 minutes.
So she's monetizing.
Then pay Raquel.
Well, who cares about Raquel?
I do.
Why do you want Raquel to be paid?
Because if you're going to die on the hill of monetization without exploitation, or whatever the exploitation without monetization, then you need to fucking pay her. I'm not saying that she deserves the money. I'm saying that if you are going to spearhead this quote unquote ridiculous strike that you have made TikTok after TikTok after TikTok about, and then you come out and you say shit like you're not going to fucking pay her when you're going to make 6 figures plus on this one goddamn episode and stretch it out into 3. That's fucking insane. That's bullshit, and I can't stand for it. And don't you sit there and sip your stateside because you know you're getting me riled up. He's the fucking king of the gaslighters, and here I am about to throw my goddamn notebook through the wall.
I just don't think it fucking matters. Raquel is not somebody you need to pay for somebody to get on. You're giving her time to talk and make her peace, and she's putting her foot in the mouth.
You at least...
She's making her... I understand, yes, in general. If she had brought anybody else on, say she brings on Teresa or Louie to talk about fucking Jersey, pay them. Go ahead, do that. You get into it. She still makes a good point. They do deserve to get paid.
I agree.
There's nothing wrong there. I don't have any issues with that. I also can believe that Raquel doesn't exactly deserve to get paid. Her compensation is being able to talk. It's not Bethenny's fault that she's coming out worse than this.
My whole thing is if Bethenny's platform is reality stars deserve to get paid and Bravo is exploiting them, and then she in turn exploits Raquel to make money off of her without giving her any incentive, that's ridiculous. That shows you who Bethenny is. That's my only point. It's not so much that Rachel deserves the money. I can understand that the platform to speak freely and exonerate yourself or attempt to is enough compensation to get her onto the show. I understand where you're coming from. I'm simply saying if Bethenny wants to die on this hill, then you need to pay Rachel. Like, that's just to keep your other movement going.
Let's be honest here. Bethenny does not want to die on this hill.
No,
I
she's
do
gonna
not think she
slither
actually
away
cares.
from this and
I think she
move
just
on.
wants some public
She
attention.
doesn't care. She doesn't watch the show. She didn't know who Rachel was
Exactly.
until like
She
6 months
doesn't
ago.
care about this movement. She just wants attention. And what is she getting? The most attention right now.
It's
She got what she
insane.
wanted.
I know she did. Look,
It worked.
but it's
not right.
I'm
I'm
looking at
not
it
saying
from
it's
the
the right
lens.
move.
I'm only looking at it from the lens of what she's attempting to do with all of reality TV, and then what she immediately turns around and does. That's bullshit.
Okay.
That's all. And you agree with me. You're just trying to. I know what you're doing. It's fucking annoying.
I agree with you.
I know you do. And it's annoying what you're doing. I know what you're doing.
What do you got?
I'm gonna
Put in your little shirt
don't
pocket.
touch me right now. I swear to God. We get to the reunion or leaving the reunion, and I had to highlight this because she talks about how she went back to the interview with Andy 3 days after the reunion. She actually left there and went straight to treatment in the facility, but she has the nerve in this moment to say, honesty is one of my core values. It's like, look, maybe it was, but you cannot sit there and say, this is my core, this is a pillar of who I am, is honesty, when you lied about an affair for 7 months when you were hanging out with the girlfriend of the man you were banging.
Ariana was not wrong. She doesn't have a thought of her own.
No,
We saw it during this interview. You could see her mind changing the entire time. She went in with, I don't think she went in with a plan. She just went in thinking like, I'm going to hope for the best. That's what she said after the
That is the
reunion, right?
That was what she said.
Hoping for the best, expecting the worst.
Yeah, that is. That's
Now
a really
she's
good
just
point.
hoping for the best. There was no worst part of this.
That's a really good point. But Bethanny asks her, so why did you choose me? Why did your people reach out to me? And she says, you are a force to be reckoned with. And my mom resonates with you. And that's an interesting thing now that you said what you said earlier about her mom. If the mom's resonating with Bethanny, Rachel hears that. She goes, oh, Bethanny's my mom. I need to go to Bethanny now.
Yes.
Like, she gets pointed in directions.
And also, there's no way that Raquel reached out to Bethenny, right?
I wouldn't, I don't know. I bet her
I
people
heard that, and
might have.
I imagine that Bethenny
It could go
absolutely
either
reached
way.
out.
I don't know. It could go either way, honestly. But they start talking about exploitation. And that's when they really get into it. And Rachel's saying, you know, everybody ran to the bank on Scandoval and everyone's cashing out on it. And I'm not. And maybe so. Maybe you're not getting the kickbacks, but that's what happens when you play the role of the villain. Ariana is the woman scorned. She's the one that got burnt in this whole thing. And she deserves all the come ups that she's getting because of the public embarrassment that she got on TV. If you played your cards right, and went into this interview with an actual redemption story, or took just it, all she had to do was go into this interview and say, I'm wrong, I'm better now, or working on myself. And you could have a comeback arc, maybe, like down the road somewhere, but you just shot yourself in the foot again. But that's when she says, I made a single penny. And then I have to say, again, I would love to not make a single penny and make $325,000.
Yeah, make $20,000 an episode.
Yeah.
Also, the whole point of what you did is so that you can establish yourself as a force on this show. That's the path that you decided to go down. You want to do this. You want to use the past seasons and the past cheating scandals as sort of a blueprint for what you want and up it times 10.
Yeah.
Show up this year. Show up next year. You'll make more than 350K. You'll be making 500K. If we're led to believe what she says, which has got to be bullshit, that Sandoval is going to get a producer credit in season 11,
no fucking
there's no
way.
fucking chance in hell. If there is, and we're in the trust tree right now, I think, right?
I don't know.
Are we in the
you're
trust
pushing
tree?
my butt. Yeah, we're always in the trust tree.
I'm up to like 10% that this whole thing's fake.
10?
It's pretty high. It's
Oh,
getting
wow.
higher. Yeah, I'm starting to call it out.
Interesting.
I can see that this whole thing is fake.
I don't think it's fake.
If Sandoval
I-
gets a producer credit next year, this thing's 50% fake.
I don't. So here's my take. I don't think it's fake. I think once it was established that it was happening, then they started pulling some strings. I think that
Yes,
the
okay,
initial hookup
I'm-
is not fake.
Yeah, I'm fully in on that.
Yeah, I
if
think-
that's where we go. But
Right. I think once they got the info, they're like, "Ooh, fuck yeah, we
Yeah,
can
and it
run
was-
with this and save the show." But that does take us into the Ariana portion of the podcast, and Rachel comes out and says, "We were never besties. They painted this picture that we were like super tight. We weren't." While that may be true, for me, it's hard to believe that, like, even when she explains what their friendship was, because she says Ariana always looked out for me, she always defended me, she wanted what was best for me. That's a friend.
but then she also said they never hung out off camera.
No, I'm not saying it's a best
No,
friend.
no. I'm actually questioning the
Oh,
we never
yeah,
hung
yeah.
out off
Yeah,
camera. I
right.
think that's got to be
That
bullshit,
doesn't
right?
make sense to me. There's
Yeah.
no way that they weren't like together. She said they weren't one on one, but I don't know. Like as that crew kind of navigates, I think they go around together a lot. My point with that is like you were friends. You can't call it acquaintances if she has your best interest at heart. She's looking out for you, defending you, all of those nice things. So this is just an argument of semantics to me, and I think that that's where Rachel kind of puts her foot in her mouth. It's like, well, she had your back, dude. Like, there's no world in which this woman
Yep.
who is defending you relentlessly, when shit went bad with James, she was on your team, like ride or die. You cannot then in turn say, oh, we were just acquaintances. Like, this is just painted up for the show to make it look like a certain thing. And that's interesting because that's what she seems to be doing with everything. She's leaning on production because that's an easy out,
Yep.
right? Because we all don't know. We don't see behind the scenes, and we all talk about production all the time. We
But
know
then
that they
Bethanny
have their
backed
hand
her up too, so
Of
that's why
course
I'm
she
thinking
did,
that
though.
Bethanny's pulling the strings in this whole
in it.
interview.
Oh, she is.
Has to be.
Yeah, she has. She is definitely the director here, but she talks about how Scheana was her best friend. And then she goes on this other weird spin and says, yeah, but then Scheana tried to paint this narrative that she was like a mother figure and she was taking care of me. She offered you her apartment. She let you stay there. She claims that she didn't make you pay rent. You're now saying you did pay rent. I honestly believe Scheana over Rachel because Rachel lied for 7 months plus. And the fact that she's minimizing what Scheana did is weird. Like,
Yeah,
all of
and
this is weird.
There's no evidence that Scheana was doing that because, that could probably be annoying. But if she was doing it on the show before the whole Sandoval thing came out, saying like, "Yeah, I took Raquel in, I mothered her, I gave her a place to live," like, no, we never really saw any of that. After the news broke, we see it on the reunion because Sheena's actually breaking down. If that's what Raquel is pointing at, then fuck you. Like that doesn't make any sense. You
None.
can't be. You're going to take offense to the fact that Sheena's saying that she mothered you when all of the things that she lined up, one, happened, two, are motherly and friendly, and now you're going to take offense to that
And you
later.
also
doesn't
said
make
that
any
she was your
sense.
best friend.
Yes. No, it's I think that she's just got to be butthurt that these people aren't supporting her and not checking in on her and not seeing if she's okay after all of this. She just can't wrap her little mind around how she's scorned everybody.
It's just crazy that she can't see why she got cut out of the group, and the fact that Bethanny leans into it. Like, no one's there giving you a tissue. No one's there looking out for you at the reunion. It's like, why would they? This is 3 weeks
Yeah.
removed. But that leapfrogs directly into Tom and Ariana's relationship. And Rachel says, I would not have been involved if I thought there was any longevity to this, which then, in a weird way, is trying to vindicate her decision. Like, it's okay because this relationship was a farce. And that's where I say, regardless of that, until they're broken up, you don't step in, period.
Yeah. No, and I think that she's still, and this just goes to show you that the 60 or 90 days, however fucking long her retreat was, did absolutely nothing because she was even still talking about Tom. Like, aside from the video that he recorded, she's still talking about him like he's a god.
Yeah.
I gave him a key to my apartment so that he could escape his terrible relationship while I was away. Like, what? Why?
Now you're a
Like,
savior.
why are you doing this to this guy who just ruined your entire life? If that's what you're going to do, you're going to play the victim, but also say that you're supporting the person who pushed you to the victim role. Like, that doesn't add up at all. And again, it's hard to put really any thought into what she's saying. Like, yes, a lot of the things that she's saying are ironic or hypocritical or just downright wrong. But at the same time, she's even the simple things that she says make zero sense. She's just not there, and she'll just twist any little thing and completely contradict herself the entire time.
And in this moment, Bethany's really leaning hard into the victim narrative. She's really pushing Raquel into like, oh yeah, like they were in a loveless relationship. They weren't having sex. There was no romance, you said? Like she's asking Raquel, but what you're doing is planting it in her head.
Yep.
Like she's like, oh, there was no romance. You're pretty much saying like it's not that big of a deal. It is a big deal. You haven't watched the season, so you don't really get a fucking opinion. That's my favorite part. That's the Howie Mandel of it all.
Yeah.
You cannot comment from a place of understanding when you didn't watch the ins and outs, because the ins and outs are the most important part. Her interactions with Ariana all season and her interactions with Scheana and everybody in the group, that's where it lies. That's the big issue with this affair. It's how she carried herself and acted after the fact and during it. That's the fucking problem. So for you to sit there and comment on it as though you know and understand and are giving a victim a platform to speak out is insanity. It's craziness. But that's when they start to like tiptoe around the reunion. They get into the reunion full blown in episode 2, which we're about to get to as well. But Rachel says it was uncalled for. All the things that were said were uncalled for. Nobody should hear those things. Look, again, you are less than 3 weeks removed from it. You're going to hear some shit. You're going to catch some shit in your role that you've played. Unfortunately, you got to sit there. You got to grin and bear it. Yeah, they're going to say some of the most hurtful things you've ever heard in your life. The funny thing is, after the fact, Ariana, there's a clip of her saying like, yeah, no, it was a lot. Like, do you still feel that same way? She's like, nah, like she actually kind of rescinds some of the anger. So even she was like in the moment, like we were all heated up. It was very, very soon after everything had happened. So we were all still very emotional. So yeah, we got a little over the top. Like we can understand that some of the things that were said are super hurtful, but time and place, you're very close to everybody finding out. You're going to catch a lot of shit. You just got to take it. And in this moment, when you have a chance to talk about it, say you understand.
Yeah.
Say, I get it. You know what? Yeah, it was awful. And I don't think that it was necessary and maybe it was over the top. But given the circumstances, I understand why. That would give you so much more credit instead of, yeah, they shouldn't have talked to me like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what the approach that she should have taken is being remorseful. And that's where I kind of battle with it. Like, yes, Bethanny was pushing her in different directions, trying to get her to play the victim. But everything that we've seen from Raquel since then, she is playing the victim.
Yeah.
Nothing has really changed.
No, she didn't learn anything.
I wouldn't have, I wouldn't have been I would have been a little surprised if she came in fully remorseful and apologized. But at the same time, I don't expect that. I expect her to play the victim because that's where she is. That's kind of who she's always been, and that's probably where her family's pushing her. So that's what she's going to do.
Yeah.
I think she would have benefited, to kind of echo what you were saying. 4 months later, 5 months later, if you sat down and you had a huge public audience where all these people are going to listen, if you apologized openly again, you might be able to get some of these friends back if you actually cared. I get the vibe that she doesn't really give a shit. We watch her with Scheana. We watch her with Ariana this whole season, the last season. She doesn't actually have friends. She spaces out. She just likes to have people to talk to. She doesn't give a shit about any of them.
Nope.
But you can't do that and also say that you need some friends. You need people to lean on. You need people to care about you. None of that makes any sense. We've seen you just go time and time again, space out while people are talking about serious things, except for the time that Ariana starts talking about her relationship with Sandoval, because that's a beneficial thing for you.
Right.
Now you're going to check in. Now you're going to hone in. That's the only time that we've seen her alert and aware during a conversation. The rest of it, she's just ditzy and stupid.
And the funny thing is, if you came into this interview and talked about your growth in therapy, talked about what you worked on, what you introed with, like I went there to learn about myself, why I go for unavailable men, why I am the way that I am, pretty much. That's a great way to intro. All right, let's talk about that. What did you learn? Not
Nothing.
why. Yeah, the exact opposite. Like, yeah, I didn't learn anything and I'm the victim and these people are all assholes. But again, I blame Bethanny. I blame the interviewer. It was a terrible interview. And I blame her for how she was pointing everything. And then she has the nerves to call Rachel a warrior. I wrote that quote down. She goes, you know, you, Rachel, like you're a warrior, a reality TV warrior, like all the warriors out there. It's like, no, bro, don't give her the shield to like protect herself with. She needs to, like, it's just nuts. Let's keep going.
I think the funniest part of the first episode was talking about Rachel versus Raquel. And at the end of everything, when she goes through her crazy fucking path of why she decided to go with Raquel over Rachel, and then go back to Rachel. Bethanny looks at her and goes, "Welcome, Rachel."
Yeah,
Like this was
it's
some fucking
deep,
journey.
profound
Yeah.
moment. Like, get the fuck
I was
outta here.
laughing out loud at that one. It was fun. Look, I had a great time.
The end of episode 1, they start talking about the video that was recorded. And yeah, this is slimy as shit. Sandoval records a video in secrecy, and I do believe he showed people this video. I got one quote from was it Nick Vial? Sandoval was on some new reality TV show coming out where he was showing people on the show like pictures and like screenshots of Rachel naked and stuff, and this video, like it's all slimy.
He was showing
stuff.
naked stuff too.
Yeah, he was showing.
I always thought that because it's like this fucking special forces show type of thing.
That's what it was. Yeah.
So I just expected like a World War II guy like taking his helmet off and like this is what I'm
There's a
fighting
picture
for.
of
It's like a
Rachel
little
in it.
Polaroid of Rachel.
No.
Instead, it's like a clip of her in this screen recording.
No, it was stuff that should not be shown to other people.
Jesus.
And without her consent. That's bullshit. That's not cool. Like, in no world, I don't care how much you dislike Rachel. Like, yeah, your private
That's
business is
fucking
your
weird.
Yeah, it's weird as fuck. And it's disgusting. And that's a Sandoval
And
thing.
also,
And again,
if it's a FaceTime screen recording, that means he's probably jacking off in the corner too. Like,
oh, man, I didn't have to. I didn't
you didn't
need
know?
that
You didn't
one.
think that?
I have, but like, now you
Who,
just.
who watches that too? Like you live close to get like I don't know, whatever. People like we don't kink shame here, all right?
We don't kink
That's
shame, but
fucking
that's
weird.
gross. But the one quote I want to talk about, and then we'll jump over to episode 2, or sorry, part 2 of this stupid thing. The day that Ariana called her and sent her a picture of the video, or sorry, a clip of the video on Tom's phone, she was sitting in a chair getting her hair done and literally said, "I'm killing it. I can handle anything right now," which means that you are actively involved in a love affair.
High on life.
And you are killing it. You cannot be doing any better. And then you go away for 90 days and you come out and you're defending yourself. Like, what the hell? One line that really stood out to me, though, is how she dealt with Ariana in that moment. Because this, to me, says louder than anything, I'm playing the victim right now. Because she says, because Ariana sent her the video and said, "You're dead to me," and then wanted to know what happened. What's the timeline? When did this start? Rachel says, "I felt pressured by Ariana to tell her because I was afraid that she was going to post the video," which means that you were blackmailed. You were blackmailed into telling the girlfriend of the guy you're fucking what the timeline is. That to me spoke louder than anything in the episode. It seems kind of like off color, doesn't really matter. To me, I'm like, wow, the fact that you can take the moment in which you got caught and say you felt pressured, that's a big statement to me.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't make any sense. Her word choice never makes any sense. But again, you can just say in this moment, my world came crashing down. This lie that I was holding on to forever for this guy that I was seeing in his relationship and this woman who I was friends with or friendly with or whatever. Like any normal person in that moment's going to say, shit, like I got caught. And look, there was nothing I could do. I fessed up. That's what I did. You don't say you were pressured into doing it unless you're still fucking warped in reality, thinking that you're a victim.
Yeah.
There's just no other way about it. And then she glossed over most of that, to be honest. You could have leaned into the Sandoval thing a little bit more, talk about how fucking disgusting it is, talk about how illegal it is,
Yeah.
and then talk about the fact that because it was on his phone, it is now on someone else's phone, which is a felony. So there's so many different ways that you can go there and push all of the attention back on scummy ass Sandoval. Instead, you take this opportunity to act like the victim once again and then get excited to talk about what's next when it comes to Scheana.
Yep.
That makes no sense to me. And I don't think that's coaching. I don't think that there's anybody to blame here but Raquel.
In that moment,
That
yeah.
is 1,000% Raquel in a nutshell. And that is what we're getting.
I completely agree. And I'm just going to highlight it again because I wrote it down. This is where I wrote and I posted it today. 12 minutes of ads. In this 50-minute episode, we got 12 minutes of ads. I can't get away from the fact that she is on the platform of no exploitation without monetization and has the nerve to put 1/4 of this show as advertisements. And to explain to all of you out there that don't know how podcast ads work, you get paid. It's called a CPM, cost per mile. It's confusing. I don't understand it still, but what I do know, how it works is for every 1,000 listens you get to like an advertisement, you get anywhere from, if it's a 30-second ad, it's like $18 to $30. And if it's a 60-second ad, you get anywhere from like $25 to $40. So there could be hundreds of thousands, if not a million people that listen to this episode. You do the math. And that's not even including if she has a host read ad. Host read ads are where you make the money. If you hear us idiots talking to you guys about bird dogs or other favorite sponsors of ours via hemp gummies, we get paid more for those. So she's going to make an absolute killing off of this, and she's exploiting Rachel to do so.
I really wanted her to do a host read ad in the middle of all of that
Funny
too.
would that have been?
If she just stopped the conversation, like Rachel, I got to stop you right there, babe. Now let's talk about bird dogs. Like that would have been electric. I would have loved that. And I looked, there were multiple times in this interview that I really just wanted to see the video. And we'll get to the second part of this, the main aspect of why I wanted to see the video.
Video of
I
the
just
interview.
needed to see the
video
two
of the
them.
interview.
Oh, God. Yeah. Sorry. We were removed from that. I'm done with that. I'm talking about seeing the two of them talk. I just wanted to see their faces in so many different moments. And hopefully we do get that because I will go back and rewatch.
I think that she'll post it eventually because she's going to make YouTube ad
Yeah,
money.
because there's
which you get
pictures
paid
and
even more
YouTube and
for.
yeah, exactly. Now, what would you say if like 4 or 5 weeks from now, Bethanny comes out and says, all of the proceeds that I got from this, I'm putting towards a lawsuit towards BravBro to get these residuals for everybody on the show.
I would say, holy shit, you are the most hypocritical piece of shit on the planet.
Still?
Yeah, because again, one, I think that'd be manufactured because she's been getting so much heat for not paying Rachel.
What if it goes to
Everybody's
charity?
talking about it. That's different, I guess. But at the same
I
time,
feel like this is charitable though.
the whole point of why I'm never going to be cool with it is because of what platform she's living on right now. Like, because she is doing and saying what she's saying on one side and then in turn does this to Rachel is bullshit. I don't think it's fair. Like, that's my whole thing. But let's keep trucking right along. We got episode 2, which don't worry, it was 38 minutes long, not 50 minutes long, and 10 minutes of those were ads. I counted that one too. 10 minutes of ads in a 38-minute episode, which means that 1/3 of your episode
Just
was
skip
ads.
through and just
It's not
plus
about
15,
that.
plus 15.
Not about it.
I skip through ads all the time.
I did too, Sean. I skipped
If you
through them
skip
as well.
through them, then how'd you count them?
Because as I was tapping the 15 button, I looked at the time when it started, and then I looked at the time and when the episode resumed, and I put those numbers together with addition and math, bitch.
Math?
Part 2. We start out with the physical assault by Scheana. Now, we never got confirmation that she got punched in the face. I think that we all know what happened. She pushed her into a wall, and yeah, Scheana punched her
I
in the
think
face.
she punched her in the face.
punched her in
Yeah,
the
it's
She says that look at these nails is her big argument that she didn't punch her in the face. Like, come on. You can still punch with nails.
Yeah, I understand why you can't tell us that you punched her in the face, but you punched her in the face.
But the crazy thing is, before on the reunion, she says, I'm sorry, I should have never gotten the restraining order. Like, that was a mistake. I was just reacting. Now she's saying, I stand by the restraining order. And on top of that, she says, how can I be assaulted and still be the villain? Because of all of the shit you did.
Yeah, that's
That doesn't
exactly what
exonerate
this is.
you.
No, yeah, just because you got punched in the face by someone who was not the person that you betrayed.
Yeah. Well, I
Well,
mean,
you kind of
she
did betray, yeah.
Yeah.
But just stand if she stood by the restraining order at the reunion and then stood by again, that would be okay, I think, because you did get punched in the face.
Yeah.
That's all right if you were fearful that somebody was going to show up or whatever and punch you in the face again. Then yeah, sure, restraining order makes sense.
That makes sense, but understand that it doesn't make everything you did cool because somebody cold cocked you. It's not how it works.
Nope.
But then we dive back into the video, and I have to point this out. And this is why Sandoval deserves so much more shit because he's so slimy and gross. She questions him about the video on camera, and he says that he wanted her to see how beautiful she looked.
Yeah, that's the
Are you
dumbest thing I've ever
fucking
heard. in my
kidding
life.
me? Like, it's insane. But Rachel brings it up on camera to him, and Tom pulls a fucking 180 and says, once they're done filming, why did you do that? Why did you call me out and say that I filmed you without your consent? And then he says, I'm going to boycott the rest of the season unless you guys pull this scene. And you think they're going to give that man a producer credit?
I mean, look, you got to start questioning, and Bethanny kind of backed it up too. She said, "Oh, he pulled that move. That's not like
Yeah,
nothing that hasn't happened before."
I believe that.
I absolutely believe that.
Someone
You got to
does an oh
start wondering,
shit
like,
moment on TV.
how much more is kept from us, the viewer, who's just
Right.
trying to piece a fucking story together. If you've got idiots like this sitting around and pulling that kind of behavior to try to pull things off the camera, like I 1,000% believe that. I think the energy that we saw in that weird little scene that was very uncomfortable to watch, there was more to it. And while we didn't really want to watch it again, there's obviously things that were left out and things that could have been included that may have helped Rachel's case. Like, if she had just leaned into that and said, look, like, yeah, I cheated, I did this, I was part of this, push it all on Tom. There's no other fucking recourse here. Just push it on Tom. He's the number one perpetrator. You might be able to get up with a little bit of victimism. People would probably feel a little bit bad for you
Victimism?
at some point. I don't know, new words. Maybe that people will feel bad for you. People already did feel bad for her at one point. You could grow a bit of, I guess, a sob story if you could, and maybe you can get some of these friends back if you're remorseful and throw it all on the number one perpetrator. Instead, you just leave him out, completely don't slander his
You go
name for
after
some
everyone
reason,
else.
and you go after everybody else who had a right to be mad, who, by the way, admitted, yes, we were really hard on her, but it was really new. Maybe they're not going to be hard on you anymore. Maybe you can just lean into
Not
that
now.
and leave them out of it. No, now you're just going to re-kick up some shit. And honestly, look, I think that Ariana, I don't think she's going to feel anything from this interview.
No, I don't think.
She's
No.
probably going to laugh. She's going to think this is ridiculous. Lala might use this as a bit of a platform. She'll probably have the number one
she'll
podcast
definitely,
next
yeah.
week, I'm sure. The rest of them, they're going to laugh at this. They don't care.
Katie already posted like, "What in the hot garbage is this?" Which I thought was
Yeah.
funny. And I want to say something because we caught some shit from like 2 out of the 2,000 people that messaged us in the past 2 days, where they're saying, "Oh, what? She doesn't have a right to speak up? Like you're trying to silence a woman?" No, we're not trying to silence anybody. The funny thing is, I 100% believe that Rachel deserves a platform in which to speak on her own behalf. I think that
Whoa.
I do. I think anybody does. I think everybody deserves the
Okay.
right to at least talk, to at least speak, not the way she's going about it. And I also think that she chose the wrong platform. I think that had she, first of all, I think she needed to wait longer. I think it's too soon, but I do think that she deserved the right after what she went through as far as the shit that was said. I think that it was so gnarly to listen to that stuff. I'm not saying it wasn't deserved in the moment, but I'm saying if you're going to take your beating and then you come out after the fact and say, look, I went to a therapy center for 90 days. I've really worked on myself. I understand what I did was really wrong. I hurt a lot of people in my wake. I'm so remorseful. I'm going to continue to do the work and hopefully I can become a better person. Something along those lines. Yes, you have the right to speak out when you're ready. I do believe that. I think that you could not have gone about it in a worse way with a worse mediator.
Yeah. Not wrong.
Thanks. But the profit thing comes back up, and Bethanny says, "It sounds like everybody's profiting, but you're in debt. How the fuck are you in debt? You made $350K.
Poor financial decisions, probably.
Horrible finance. Yeah, you maybe
I mean,
following
yeah,
Tom
she-
around the country with his stupid ass band for too
Doing
long.
that, he's probably not paying for you to travel. You probably also got an apartment that was outside of your means because you thought you were going to be on this show longer. There's a lot of things to be said there.
And-
It's not she's not fucking in debt because she cheated with Sandoval.
No, that's
She's
not
in debt because she's an idiot.
Yeah, you
Like,
don't get charged for an affair.
I
but
don't think so.
this is when she brings up Kristen's spinoff, and she claims, and we've heard rumblings about this actually somewhat confirmed today by Dodie herself when she says there is some truth to what Rachel is saying, as far as there might have been some violence from James Kennedy during their relationship in which she was the victim of abuse. We cannot corroborate that as we do not have the evidence, so this is a big old alleged. But Rachel speaks out on that and says this happened, and that's why she got the spinoff. It's more or less hush money. And look, I'm proud of Kristen today for speaking out on it, for saying something, and it's a difficult topic to discuss, obviously. And if that is actually happening, I do think that needs to be brought to light. I think that we've heard it now for 6 months? We've heard rumors.
Yeah, between
think
her and
that-
Jax, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's time that something comes out in which we know what's going on, because I don't want to watch somebody on TV that does that kind of stuff. I don't even want to watch somebody on TV that's allegedly doing that stuff until it's proven that he didn't. Like, that's bullshit. I actually agree with Rachel there. Like, if that is something that's going on, I don't know if it's hush money, but I do think that whatever those allegations are, they need to be addressed. They need to be addressed before next season, because that's important, and it's something that you can't sweep under the rug as a network, as a human being. Like, that's
Yeah, not only
serious
that,
shit.
but that's not the first time, obviously, during the reunion when Tom was talking about what James was doing in Atlantic City. Like,
Correct.
there are other things that, because this Scandoval has gotten so fucking huge, and because Tom talked Howie Mandel, and now we've got Rachel out there talking, there's so many big things happening that I feel like the little details are kind of just getting pushed under the rug, and hopefully they're addressed. And maybe this is a good thing to come out of the interview.
Yeah,
Maybe
that's a good
like a
point.
positive spin.
That's your
It
silver
still
lining.
doesn't help Raquel at
No,
all,
but
in the least.
but hopefully it can help Dodie. But that's when we dive full blown into the reunion and this is, I believe, the scene you're referring to in which you want to watch it on
I
YouTube.
need to watch this.
Bethanny does a dramatic reading, I want to call it, borderline monologue for like an acting role in which she reads everything that was said to Rachel negative. Everything. Like calling her subhuman, calling her the C word. Like she reads it.
I wonder if Bethanny, I bet Bethanny did say that and they bleeped it out.
She
'Cause
did.
there was like a weird
There was
pause. You could
gap.
hear the
Yeah,
C, and then it was like
Yeah,
weird gap.
she definitely said it, which is even funnier that
Yeah,
she
I
dropped
gotta
that
see
word on her.
this.
Like the whole thing is hysterical in that moment. But the thing and you walked in my house as I was listening to this part, she starts talking about the numbers, the ratings, like what this Scandoval did to boost Vanderpump and make it one of the most watched shows in the past like 5, 10 years, whatever. She doesn't even have the research. She doesn't have the numbers in front of
She
her.
had it.
She Googles
She
the shit.
Googled it, yeah, and I thought that was really funny. It was definitely genuine too. She had no idea.
She's sitting there going, "Oh my god! Oh
She
my god!
was
Oh my
so
god!"
jealous.
Oh my!
It was
you could hear it
so
in her
funny.
voice because yeah,
She's. It was really funny though because she said, those numbers are way bigger than any other housewife show that I've ever been a part of. And then she said, and even Beverly Hills, which is big. And then she went into Atlanta, and I'm like, all right, well, at least she didn't just leave it at her own personal thing. That was
but you
somewhat
could
of a good
tell
move.
when she started dropping the numbers. She's
Yeah.
like, "Fuck! I never even like touched those numbers."
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really funny scene, or I guess clip. But it drove me nuts, like as podcasters and as interviewers, to hear somebody break out a phone mid-interview and react genuinely to like new knowledge. Like you should have that stuff
I loved it.
mapped out in
I
front of
thought
you.
it was so funny.
I did too. It was actually a nice little moment where I could breathe during this.
Yeah.
But
You weren't breathing?
no, I was holding my breath for an extended period of time,
Oh,
so I didn't
man.
yell.
Good?
Word. I'm not. This kind of stuff really rattles me. I know you like to like ha at it, and I know you like to poke me and push my buttons because you think it's funny and
It
you
is
think
really
our
funny.
listeners like to hear it. But
They do. They do love it.
like you take years off my life when you push me into these fucking rants, dude. I don't think you
But we
realize.
get great content out of it.
Ugh. Let's keep going. We're
Steele's
almost
face
done.
is so red
I'm
right now.
bright
too.
red. I'm actually physically hot right now. If you're YouTube, what's up? But this is where Bethanny says, nobody hands you a tissue. Nobody checks in on you and sees if you're okay. Again, Beth, this is 2 weeks out, 3 weeks out, whatever. Very fresh. No
Queen
one.
B to you, not Beth.
What's up?
Queen B to you, not Beth.
It's not going to work. But she says nobody should be spoken to that way. And then we get Rachel's response, how she reacts to all of this, what she's feeling on the whole matter. And she goes into what I can only call a pageant speech about how everybody deserves love and everybody deserves to. Yeah, no one should hear that they're subhuman unless you are fucking the man of a girl that you hang out with on the daily.
Yeah.
Then you might have to catch some shit and just grin and bear it. Don't sit there and defend yourself. It's fucking insane.
It's funny you said pageant speech too, because I bet you there's got to be some old footage of Rachel's pageant speeches, right?
And I bet she says that for everybody deserves love in this world. And that's how world peace is achieved.
Raquel, it says here, Rachel. Okay, whatever. We're
It's
just gonna skip
it's
over that.
tranquil.
Why is USA the best country in the world? Well,
Everybody deserves love. What? But she tells us about her, and I didn't know this part, where she was actually birthed by her mom's sister and then adopted by her birth mom's sister.
yeah, I also thought that was weird.
And then
also
she-
known as your aunt, but whatever,
Right, that
it's
would be an
okay.
easier way to say it. But then she says, I think I'm a miracle.
Miracle baby.
Why?
Yeah.
I,
I don't know. I have no fucking
I-
idea.
but that's
It's a
delusion.
miracle that I'm still alive. Why?
But the delusion of it all, unless her aunt was like considering an abortion or something, that's the only, or I guess her mom. Fuck, that's confusing. Her mom's
birth mom.
sister's her birth mom.
Her birth aunt.
Unless she was considering like terminating the pregnancy, like then you're a miracle baby, I guess. But it's just in this moment to use the term miracle and prop yourself up again. It's weird. There's
That
no
is
remorse.
1,000% just her her acting mom, if you will. pushing that into her.
Yeah.
That's what the fuck, that's her life. That's what she's always been. We're getting a glimpse as to why she's so delusional in
It's the
all of these
mom.
situations. It's the mom, it's her family, it's her life of pageantry, it's all this bullshit. The fact, I can't say it enough. The fact that a first grader changed her fucking name makes no sense to me. It is not an American name. Your name was Rachel.
Rachel.
You didn't change to fucking Marie. You didn't change to Tiffany. You changed to Raquel. That makes no sense. You just thought it was a cool name and you
can
went
feel
with
special.
it. Like that. This is Big Daddy. Like, what's your name? Frankenstein. I'm going with Frankenstein. All right, the kid likes Frankenstein. We're going with that. That's a movie. This is real life. It makes no sense. She is so delusional, and I do not understand. Like, yes, obviously we're podcasters. We're going to talk about this. People that are actually trying to analyze the things that she says and take them for fucking Bible are nuts. This woman is stupid as hell. She is fucking, she's got a 10 IQ. Why are we doing this? Why do we care what she has to say? She's clearly doesn't care about anybody else but herself. She clearly has no remorse for the things that she did. The fact that we were sitting here thinking that she might be remorseful is lunacy.
Yeah, and the thing that this kind of winds up the episode, thank God, but we get a quick free ad for Dr. Matt Hulowitz, who is also a psychologist.
Shout out Dr. Matt.
Dr. Matt, who clarifies that this was emotional abuse. This was not punishment. And there's a difference between the two. And while I agree with Dr. Matt's evaluation, Dr. Matt, again, does not know the time frame.
Dr. Matt, again, probably did not watch this. I think this is all made up.
That could also be very true. But the last thing I want to point out is how Bethanny tries to spin what was going on at the reunion, how she tries to intentionally paint Andy in a certain light. And this, I believe, is her effort to push her other narrative, which is the strike. Like when Andy's saying, come back, and she starts highlighting there is no safe spaces. There's nobody you can turn to. It's a dangerous atmosphere in reality TV. And a lot of people say that's what you signed up for. Now, should there be an outlet in which, like, hey, this is too much? Yeah, I believe that, because I believe that we've seen moments in other shows as well where stuff gets really real and it's almost to the point where it's like, wow, this is too much. I don't want to watch this. Like, somebody needs to step in. We saw it when Diana Jenkins tore down Sutton in Beverly Hills.
And we asked Sutton too, is there anybody that you can like lean on a little bit? And she said, yeah, you know, some of the producers are like, mostly it's just people that work for me that I can lean on. That's pretty much it.
Right.
So we knew that this toxic culture existed. The funniest aspect of this was Raquel thought reality TV was going to be fun.
Have you watched it?
Have you watched any of it? And she
Watched one
definitely
episode of
did.
Vanderpump.
She absolutely did. We know that she watched it. So she knows it's not fun, but it just goes to show you even more. Delusional.
And like the way she ends it is just leaning into the victim card and saying, this is so out of character. Like, this is not who I am. Anybody that watched seasons 5 through whatever, 5 through 10, 5 through 9, they can see I was quiet, I was collected, and yeah, you know what? You were. That's why this was so shocking, because of what you did. But you cannot sit there and say this is out of character when our most recent experience with you and your character is this person. Had you come out of 90 days in therapy and taken a different approach, and then by the end of episode 2, I might be like, oh, good, you've grown. That's a different story. But instead, you went the exact opposite direction because Bethanny Frankenstein pushed her little, like, literally, she's Dr. Frankenstein. She pushes you in a direction. She controls you. You're her puppet now, and she's directing this interview exactly where she wants it to go. She's saying exactly what she wants to push her narrative across, that Bravo as a whole is a dangerous, dangerous place for all reality stars, and you are the latest victim of Bravo.
Yeah, pretty much. About it in a nutshell, buddy. How you feeling?
I do feel better.
There you go.
I hated you in the first 5 minutes.
Good.
I know, and I know it's intentional, and that's why I hate it more, because I sit there and listen to the gaslighting, and I buy into it. There's the notebook throw. Every time. I am, you'd think I was immune to it at this point, but every single time I do it. I can't help it.
It's fun.
It's not fun.
I like it.
I'm not having fun. Are we having fun yet? Name that show. Yeah, that's a great fucking show. But that takes us to the question portion, and I imagine we have about 1,000. So, yep, we sure do. So let's dive right in. Oh, you'll like this from EMB432. I find the whole thing laughable.
It is laughable. It's fun.
From Magski, not a productive question, I know, but how do we pause Bethanny? I don't know, Magski. We brought this up on TikTok and got a lot of shit for it, so you can spearhead that one.
I think she's doing a great job. Keep her going.
Oh, okay. From Sophie R. Brown or Sophie Brown? Either or. On a scale of 1 to 10, which interview was worse, Rachel and Bethanny or Sandoval and Howie? Sandoval and Howie.
Sandoval and Howie,
Yeah.
hands down. At least we got some information.
Yeah, at least they were talking about things instead of Sandoval just going into it. The difference is Sandoval did have his own plan, and he pushed that plan across. Rachel didn't have a plan, and Bethanny pushed her plan across. That's what happened. From Love Val 05, should Tom be getting in trouble since he recorded that FaceTime without permission?
Yeah.
1000%.
Yep.
And that's the strategy that Raquel should have taken. She should have taken that. Yeah, that's bullshit. Instead, what she does is actually put Ariana in trouble potentially by alleging that she distributed this video. Like you said, that's a felon. You're
Yep.
accusing somebody of a felony without saying allegedly, which in turn is illegal. If this isn't true, she can turn around and sue you for defamation.
It can get back to Tom somehow, but yeah, just take the charge, go right at Tom. Don't go roundabout.
From Caroline Mick 8. Favorite Southern state?
Love this. I'm going to go with Mississippi because it's the funnest to spell.
Texas, which, you know,
Yeah.
that's because I'm from there and my daughter lives there. That's more of a southwestern state, though. Like south,
Deep South.
deep south. I love the Carolinas. I don't think they're the deep south, but I love
I would
the
say
Carolinas.
South Carolina is.
There's parts of it. I love South Carolina. Georgia's cool. I spent a lot of time in Florida, which not the best
Not
state.
good time.
No,
time.
I was there for a time. We'll get into that. Actually, there's a special episode I'm going to drop in honor of my 5 years sober. I thought it would be a cool opportunity for me to speak out. A lot of you asked if I was going to share my story and said that you wanted me to share my story. So I'm actually going to share my story in the most shareable way possible by sharing it with all of our listeners. I'm going to drop that in the next 24 hours or so because it's a pretty unique opportunity I have to speak on a platform about my story, and I want to share.
Share it up.
The last one, and you're going to love this one, from A.A. Beaton. Is Bethanny the Carson Wentz of housewives? 1000%. She is lauded as one of the best housewives in all housewife history. People think that she did an amazing job on the show and now is tanking so hard in the eyes of Bravo and what people thought of her past. We have like 30 messages of people saying, I loved Bethanny until these last 2 weeks. So yeah.
Yeah, I can't wrap my head around that one. Trying to think of a better demise for a superstar.
Yeah, because Carson did get us to the Super Bowl.
But anyway,
the Super Bowl.
check in next week when Bethanny interviews Luke from Down Under.
Fuck. Yo.
I knew you'd like that.
She might, honestly.
Yeah, of course you will.
I'm fucking exhausted. I'm emotionally drained. I'm glad we have family dinner tonight so I can settle down a little bit. But
don't worry, I'll prod you a little bit.
Sunday night, we're going to go live with Zach Peter, and we're going to break down episode 3 together. I think we're going to post that as an episode as well. So if you're not able to catch the live, we got a little episode /live with our main man, Zach. I think it's, as of right now, it's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time Sunday. If that changes, we will let you know, but make sure you tune into that. Reminder to follow us on all of our socials at @Brav_Bros on Instagram, Threads, X, Twitter, Facebook, MySpace. We don't have a Facebook. I take that back.
Yeah.
And subscribe to our YouTube. It's the first time I've said that successfully, at BravBros Podcast.
Tune in Sunday night to see if I can gaslight Zach too.
Zach could be tougher.
Zach's
to
really
gaslight.
tough to
Yeah, he's
gaslight.
tough
I
to
tried really hard at the live show.
I know you
He was
did.
not having it.
No, he's quicker and less emotional than I am. I'm easy to gaslight. All it takes is one poke and I'll fuck you.
Yep, pretty much.
But hey, I got a big heart and I wear my emotions on my sleeve. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, fuck you, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.